Hey all, Karlis here. Welcome back to the next video of the Stress Management Week. I'm happy to see you joining me today. So, moving on, let's talk about next question. How to deal with stress at work. Good. Thank you again for the question. Very happy to share the value. Alright, stress at work. Something that is unavoidable, right? Something that we all face every day, and we all have those daily stresses that we essentially cannot really get rid of it. And how can we deal with stress at work? Let's tackle in this video. And in this video, I'll be talking about things not only that we can do inside the work and during the work hours, but also about things that we can do outside of work in our free time, essentially. And what we can do not only just to prepare ourselves, but to make better decisions in future for ourselves. So as a recap, again, as we talked about, stress, just available physical energy, long-term chronic stress, very detrimental for our health. And our health is essentially the most important thing because it allows us to do everything else. The quality of work that we can do, the quality of decisions we can make in life, the quality of life that we can live is dependent on the quality of our own health, of our whole being, not just the body, but also of our mind, the quality of our emotions, and also quality of our, let's say, our internal selves, our spirit, our soul, and the well-being that we feel deep inside. And here's the thing about stress, is that stress is something that's unavoidable, right? We all experience some degree of stress every single day, myself included, yes. But here's the thing I want to talk about, I want to share from my experience, and when it comes to the different jobs that I've done and the different kind of stress that I've experienced, is that now that I work the kind of job, and now that I do the things that really bring me fulfillment, now that I get to help people, now that I get to teach people, to educate people, to help them make better life decisions, to do coaching, to share some advice, to share value, yes, stress also is a part of my daily life. But it's such a minuscule amount comparing to the stress that I was experiencing in the previous types of jobs, but also this kind of minuscule stress is completely overshadowed by all the valuable things, all the things that I get out of it, all the fulfillment, all the joy, all the happiness. And when I look at this small stress that I get, in my daily work, it's part of the process. It's part of how it is naturally, and I see that it has. In the end, it even brings a beneficial effect because it brings that extra bit of energy, brings that extra bit of, motivation to do some things, which can be very good. But here's the thing that I want to point down is that when I was working the jobs that I felt that I was not really, that I was really walking my path, that I was not really working towards my purpose in life, that when I was working the job that truly did not give me the fulfillment of this feeling of fulfillment in myself, this feeling of achievement, this feeling of moving forward in my life, those were the times when I also experienced much greater stress in my work. And here's the reason why, is that if we are aligned, let's say, to our destination, where we want to go in life, if we do the kind of work that brings us joy, that brings us fulfillment, that brings us real happiness, that brings us the ability to create an impact, to contribute, to show and use our talents, use our skills, and do something that brings us passion and brings us inspiration. When we are aligned with these purposes, when we are aligned with these goals in the type of work that we do, is that it all flows much easily, and all the stress is a part of the process, and it's something that it's much, not only the stress itself is much lesser, but also it just goes away much quicker, and it's completely overshadowed by all the valuable things. But then again, when we're working the type of job that doesn't bring us fulfillment, when we're working the type of job that drains us, that doesn't really bring us any happiness, just the money part at the end of the day, just the money, status, and ability to pay the rent and pay all the necessities, what it does is this creates additional internal conflict, which in turn creates more stress. And this internal conflict is because deep down we know that this is something that we don't truly like and even want to do, and something that really truly resonates with who we are as a being, as who we are in this life. But when we engage in these activities that are not aligned to who we are, this creates internal conflict, because it's a conflict inside, because there are conflicting goals, there are conflicting directions, even say. And this creates additional stress in our lives. One of the first questions we have to ask, and we have to, get back to ourselves and think about the work and the kind of stress that we experience in the work, and just be completely honest with ourselves and ask us, is this the kind of job that brings me happiness? Is this the kind of job that I want to be doing after 10 years? Is this the kind of job that brings me fulfillment? Is this the kind of job that I feel that I can really shine in, that I can really use my skills and my abilities in it? And the way how we live, how the world is right now, for a lot of people, we don't really do the kind of job that would truly bring us happiness and fulfillment. And it's also not as easy to just, do instantly the kind of things that bring us that warm feeling. So for a certain amount of time in our life, we are forced to do other work, to do things, to take care of the expenses, to take care of the money side of things. We're forced to do that. But the thing here is that it doesn't matter where we are right now. What matters more is that where are we going with our everyday life? Because every single day, even when we're doing the kind of job, the kind of work that stresses us out and just doesn't bring us any real joy, just makes us feel drained at the end of the day, and makes us want to just sit down and completely forget about all the work until the next day. Even though in those days we can still just take one step bit further towards where we want to go. But it takes time to sit and be honest with yourself. And I see that's one of the first things when it comes to dealing with the kind of stress at work, is really have to ask ourselves, if it is a kind of work that brings us already fulfillment and happiness and is truly aligned with ourselves, okay, that is great, and then from there on it's easier to work on with the stress. But if we're engaging in a type of work that does not meet this criteria, it's inevitably going to create more stress, more tension, more conflict. And here's the thing, the longer we stay in these kinds of jobs, the more the internal conflict in the end is created. And the stress builds up over time, and then you see people reaching to the point of breakdown. They force themselves for years, and then they reach a point of breakdown where just that's it, I'm done. But it doesn't have to be like that. It all can happen. The transition can happen much more smoothly and much more enjoyably. So that's the first big question that I want you to ask yourself. Where do you want to go? And again, how we can get answers to these questions is by quieting the external environment, by quieting our surroundings and returning to the present moment, returning our attention to ourselves. And from that, the answers can start to come up. But okay, that's a question for future. For now, we still have a work to do. We still have a work that needs to be taken care of. And we still have a stress that we experience at work. What can we do with that? Okay, again, we already know that our health is the most important thing. It is more important than the money we can get. It is more important than the status we get. It's more important than the fame, because our health, essentially, again, all that we can do in life depends on our health, depends on our well-being, depends on our energy, depends on our life energy, on our vitality, which all comes down to our health. Okay, good. So what we can do, first thing that we can do is we can, before going to the work, before even leaving the house to go to the work, is just to take a couple of minutes of time, sit down, close your eyes, just start by taking a couple of deep breaths in, deep breaths out, and project yourself in the future. Visualize how will your day look like. And of course, we can never truly know how our day will look like because there are uncertainties. But just visualize and just think, okay, what would happen today? Ask yourself this kind of question. What stressful could happen today? And our brain is going to come up with something. It's going to present us with some situation. It's going to present us with some difficulty, either a difficult person or difficult task or something going wrong or some unexpected situation. That's the brain's job. And that's a good thing. When brain can start to think of these stressful situations, and with that, we already feel a bit of stress coming up just thinking about these situations, just thinking about what we'll have to experience for the next 8 hours or so. And here's the thing. Once we start to visualize about our further day ahead, we can start asking ourselves these very simple and quick questions. First question being, can I let this stress go? And you get an answer, simple answer, yes or no. If it's a yes, that's very great, and we can move forward. If it's a no, no problem with that. We can ask ourselves a question, okay, can I let this stress go just as much as I possibly can, just at this very moment? Just for now, just for this very moment. Can I just let the stress go? And in those cases, again, vast majority of people, when asking this question to yourself, you get the answer yes. And that already allows us to move forward. If the answer is no, no problem. We can dive deeper. We can ask more questions, and we continue exploring ourselves. And we can ask, okay, why not? Why can't I let the stress go just for now? Why can't just for now, when I'm not in there, when I'm not in work, why can't just for now I feel peace for a few moments? Right. And then once we just slowly let go of that bit of stress for that very moment before we even have left house, we can start asking ourselves questions like, okay, can I be more resilient to stress today? And usually the answer is yes. We can ask ourselves questions like, okay, can stressful situations impact me less today? You see, you're asking these questions. We're basically asking if you can remain more, you can asking yourself if you have the possibility to be more at peace, more in stress, even before something has happened. And here's why it works, is that when it comes to visualization, our brains can't really tell the difference much between what is happening outside in the real world and between what we're visualizing. That's why when we're visualizing about, let's say, stressful situations, we get feelings of stress. When we visualize about situations like that bring anxiety, we get the anxiety. When we remember past events that were shameful and just embarrassing, we get that embarrassment feelings all over again, right? Yes, and this and this comes just from the fact that our brain doesn't really differentiate much between real life and our visualization, but we can use this very much in a very great way just by before something stressful has happened that we essentially cannot avoid, like work. It's inevitable every day. It's inevitable. We gotta go, we gotta get the money, we gotta do the job. But by visualizing beforehand, we can already prep ourselves. And here's the thing with the stress. The stress can have the biggest impact when pushing down the spiral downwards of stress, more anxiety, more stress, do faster, and just confusion and storming in the mind. The stress has the biggest impact when we don't pay attention to it. When we are not aware that it's happening, when we're not aware that we are becoming not only will we be doing work at a poorer quality when we're stressed, but also we'll be less innovative, we'll be less creative, we'll be less even rational. We become very close-minded instead of stress, and we just return to the state of survival. We gotta survive. That's what the brain thinks. And so that's what we can already do, is before even going to the work, visualize the upcoming future, visualize the possible stressful situations, and just asking yourself, can I be more resilient to stress today? Can stress impact me less today? And we'll get in these kind of questions, for the vast majority of the people, you get the answer yes. And even that is already enough. That's already enough as a quick seed to start the journey to the work, because this small thing we'll go through the whole working day. That's the first thing. The second thing is that when we are at work, is, as I was saying, because stress is most potent when we are not aware of it, when we are not aware that we are in this state of stressful thinking, this stressful, brain, kind of this stressful way of the brain, just this, in a stressful state. That's the basic way of saying it. That's when stress is the most potent. So what we can do is we essentially need to take frequent breaks in work for 2 minutes, for 3 minutes, maybe some cases in just a half a minute. But these quick breaks, when we can quickly just detach ourselves, quickly just separate from what we're doing, and just for a quick moment, return to the present selves and just, observe the situation that we are in. Observe the thoughts that are going through our mind, observe the feelings that we have, observe the tension, observe, where we have stress. Do we have tension in our muscles? Do we have tension in some parts of our body? Do we have a cloud of confusion in our mind? Just observe for 2-3 minutes. Deep breath in, deep breath out, and do stretching, bit of stretching, bit of walking, just for a bit, but frequent, but small and short breaks, very, very valuable at dealing with stress, because again, it allows us to just take a step away from that stressful situation, just for a moment observe, just for a moment regain our composure, regain our clarity, regain our peace just for the moment, and with that peace, it gives us new energy to again go into those situations which essentially are stressful situations. But when we go the next time, after taking this small break, when we go back in the next time, we are already more resilient to it. The stress no longer holds the same value, the stress no longer has the same impact as if the stress would have if we just go and 8 hours straight away without looking any other direction, just work, stress, more stress. So frequent small breaks, you got to be able to have it. And I see that most workplaces do have this option. In case when it's more, let's say, difficult to have frequent breaks, I would suggest to just talk about these things with the supervisor or with other members of your coworkers or your boss. Just talk about these things, because this thing is important. And it's also important that the management recognizes that stress is harmful, the stress is detrimental, and in the end, it's in the management's best interests to have their employees peaceful, relaxed, focused on the work. That's when they can do the best job. Not when employees are stressed, not when employees are overwhelmed, can I do the best job. So it's even in the management's interest for the employees to be at peace, to be at rest, and to be able to deal with stress efficiently, so they can quick breaks throughout the day. Quick breaks are some of the ways, are essentially important ways how we can minimize the stress that we experience at work. And again, just move at that time. Just take a walk. Just go have a couple of walks, couple of circles around. Deep breath in, deep breath out, stretching a bit. Just taking a step back, and you'll see that just a couple of minutes of this already makes a huge impact to the day, because it stacks up. Because if we do it again, and do it again. And that's the thing. Every single time when we take a break, we remind ourselves where we are of the situation, and we also remind, stress, I'm experiencing stress, or this is stressful, But again, we're putting more awareness to it, we pay more attention to our stress, and this in turn, again, decreases the impact of stress even further. It's just the way how it is. As I was saying, is that stress only has the biggest impact over us when we are not aware of it. When we become more and more aware of it, that's when the whole impact of stress loses its weight, essentially. And it allows us to be more relaxed, it allows us to be more peaceful, and in the end, it allows us to do a better kind of job. And it allows us to feel better about ourselves. It allows us to come back at the end of the day and feel better about the whole day, and feel that we're less drained, feel that we're less overwhelmed, feel that we have even accomplished something more, because we have accomplished something more. Every Every small action that we do for ourselves, we do accomplish more and more and more with every single small action that we do for ourselves, for our own well-being, and for our own health. And then furthering down, I see that, again, it depends really on the kind of job that you do and the kind of work that you do. But in cases, it can actually be very valuable to just talk more about these things with the management and just express your honest, feelings. If you're feeling stressed and you're feeling like, oh man, I'm not sure I can deal with this stress every day that I'm experiencing at work, that suffering by yourself is one of the worst things that can happen. Okay, we have to do the job, and I understand that for a lot of people, I was there too. When I had the fear, and I was like, oh no, I have this job. I need to pay the bills, the rent. I have to suffer. I have to do it. I have to. Otherwise, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna have no money. Otherwise, yes, these fears are very real fears, and we all experience that. I was there too. There's a thing that we gotta ask ourselves: is that what's better? What's in the end better? Is to live in fear, to live in suffering, to live in just thinking, okay, what could it be if that could happen or if that could happen, but never really knowing what could happen? Or what's better? To try, even just taking small steps, just to try, just to test that fear, just to try, okay. But pursue our dreams, go for what we deserve and what we desire in the end. Go for those things. And just taking small steps. And in the end, I believe that work doesn't have to come with an overwhelming amount of stress. Work can in the end be something enjoyable, something that we find joy in, something that brings us happiness, fulfillment, and that minuscule amount of stress that we'll get from work, which is inevitable, which is normal, which only shows that we're experiencing new challenges, that we're experiencing new situations, that we're growing. All the small thing, it's a small thing, and it no longer holds any real weight. But hey, it takes work, it takes time, it's not always easy, but the work that we do for ourselves is always valuable. As you know, I'm here to help you make better educated decisions in your life. Thank you for the question. I hope the information that you learned and the time spent with me today was valuable. I hope you learned something valuable. If you have any questions, please let me know and I'll get back to you. For now, take care, my friends. We'll speak soon. And I wish you to be the masters of the stress. To wake up tomorrow, look at the most stressful activity you could possibly imagine, look at it and be like, easy. I'm stronger than that. Take care, my friends. We'll speak soon.